Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour, your source for all hard rock, heavy metal, new metal, alternative, punk, horror punk, hardcore, rock, and all local bands, with your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather.
Hey, this is Dave Gray with Strong Like Bull, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guest do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I am your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bodfather. As always, I'm bringing you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a huge privilege to have Mr. Dave Gray of Strong Like Bull. Kansas Plains rock band Strong Like Bull has released the official music video for their debut single, Live While You Can, and that is for sure. Originally premiered on Pure Green Audio. And we're going to be talking to Dave about this single, all kinds of stuff that they got going on, and if we're going to get an album or an EP from these guys. So, Dave, how's it going, man?
That's good, John. Good to talk to you, man.
Yeah, glad to have you on the show. So, how's it been working with Tag Publicity and the label group so far?
Oh, that's been amazing. It's just been great. Both Tom at Tag and Dennis there at the label group, just great guys to work with, and that's what we wanted. You know, we're country boys here from Kansas, and you know, we live close to a college town. 20,000 people is the closest town to us, and we just wanted to work with people that would be like our neighbors, and that's what it's like. They're great guys.
Now, I know you guys have been in the music industry for a long time, but how does it feel to be able to still put out music, especially in the day of how music is today that we're living in? How lucky do you feel so far? I mean, it's crazy how it is right now.
Yeah, very lucky. You know, it's technology helping us do what we do because we're all still here in Kansas. You know, we didn't move away to California like bands used to do back in the Motley Crue glam rock days or, you know, any of that stuff. We're just right here. We practice on the farm and we drink a little whiskey and play some rock and roll. And it's amazing that we can reach the world with it from right here where we are.
If you're going to live on a farm, you don't drink no whiskey. You drink some shine, my friend.
Well, you're in Kentucky.
Well, come on to Kentucky.
I think we call it. We do have, you know, some guys have shown up at a bike rally or two with a bottle of shine. I will admit that.
You come to Kentucky, I'll fix you right up. How about that?
That sounds good, John.
What's impressed or excited you the most about making the music video Live While You Can? It was directed by Darren Herman of Colored Line.
Darren Herman.
Yep, of Colored Line Productions. If anything, man, what's impressed or excited you the most about this?
Well, you know, it was an exciting experience, but we had not done anything like that before. And we were working with a couple of drones as the video was shot. Part of it was out in a pasture out by the Smoky Hill River, and there's about a 300-foot drop-off down to the river off some bluffs, and he just got some great shots with being able to use those drones, having them fly around us while we were playing.
See, now we're talking about drones for videos. That's crazy. So crazy.
Yeah.
How long did it take to complete the video?
It took us pretty much all day. Just we powered it through in one day, and that pretty much wrapped it up for us. We started out with the inside shots, and then we went and spent the last half of the day out there by the river.
Was it hard to choose between the current set of songs, which one would be the first single, let alone a video you wanted to release or push first? Or was it hands down Live While You Can? It
was a tough decision. We went in and we've done a few studio sessions now, and we sent the first 3 songs we recorded over there to Tom at Tag, and his team listened to them, and Dennis there at the label group listened to them. Then after Tom said, "Hey Dennis, you got to hear this," and then we also work with a few other people there at Tag. Allison listened to them, and it was kind of a back and forth through several emails. What do you think? What do you like best? What do you like? And we all kind of came back, and the consensus ended up being Live While You Can. The song has a message. It rocks. It's still a party song at the same time, so it has kind of a, two levels. You can just take it in as a party song. Starts out, I like whiskey, I like to party, but then there's the much deeper meaning of live while you can. Don't let a day pass by, and your time is now. Don't say someday, because someday may never come. If you wait, just go for it.
Yeah, everything that you just said right there resonates with me, because
all right.
Honestly, because I'm the same way, and there's some things I wish I could do, but I just can't, and then I get frustrated. But yeah, you're right. If you have the opportunity and you can do it, do it. Don't sit there. Go after it.
That's right. Well, it's kind of our story too. It's like, why not just go for it?
Yep. Yeah.
Just being in Kansas doesn't keep us from that. So.
Yeah, I mean, all they could say is no, or a door gets shut in your face, and if not, just pick up and move on to the next chapter, man. That's it.
That's right. That's it. You just keep plugging away. Might as well go for it. Don't say what if, That's like my interviews. Reach out and get anybody who you can. So what if Rob Halford denies you, which not with him, but just PR people, or Metallica, or Slipknot, or go after that bull. Absolutely.
Any songs standing out more to you than any right now on this EP or album that you guys are going to put out or release? I know it must change every time that you listen to it or talk about it, but do you have any that stand out for you, Dave, possibly?
Yeah. Matter of fact, our next release, the next single, and there's probably going to be several singles, and then an EP with a song or two that hadn't been released yet when that comes out. I think that's the plan. Of course, things change as you talk, but I think that's the path we're taking right now. But this very next song that is coming out, it's called Good Time, and it's just a different song. We call the music we play rural rock anyway. This kind of a different way of saying Southern rock, because Kansas is kind of in the middle. So we're out here on the farm, and we're playing this music, and it's still influenced somewhat by the blues, and at times we can even have just a little bit of that country or Southern flavor influence it. And this song is just different enough. It pulls it all together. And then when the chorus kicks in, our producer, Carter Green at Green Jeans Studios, he's in Wellington, Kansas, at south of Wichita. He heard that, and he's like, man, I can hear all your influences all in one here. He goes, man, I hear AC/DC and Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath all at the same time. I said, well, that's great. And it's been my favorite song of the bunch so far, too. Not that I don't like them all, but,
Right, yeah, completely understand. You mentioned EP or an EP here. Why go the EP route? I mean, I know money, time, and things like that, but would you rather put out a full album, or is it just now the world that we live in, just get EP out and then put out others soon?
Well, yeah, it is truly, I think, the way things have changed with the world we live in, the streaming services, and the momentum you especially try to get going as a new band, trying to get people to know your name. It's good to release something a little more often that way. Mm-hmm. If you look way back in the day, my first album that I think my mom bought me when I was, I don't know, maybe 7 years old or something, was a Kiss album,
Nice.
And then I became a huge Kiss fan as I was growing up, and I was looking back at their history, and then, of course, I wasn't buying albums there when they were putting them out in the 70s yet, but I looked back, and man, they used to put out like 2 albums, and of course the albums were shorter because they had to fit on the vinyl that they were putting out at the time. So, they weren't as long as some CDs became later on, or you'd have maybe a double album, but they were putting out 2 albums a year, like full albums. Wow, those guys were really cranking it out. But that's kind of how they kept their momentum going at the time. Right now, I think, and of course this is working with our advisors and everyone, but I think it's probably best, considering streaming services, and probably won't be a video for every song. There might be a lyric video or two as we go also, but it's good to put something out a little more often, and then we can build up to that. You don't really get a review of a single, but we can put out an EP and then ask for some reviews and get a little publicity that way as well. So, I mean, I still love full albums. I used to, play them front to back, but things have changed a little bit.
Yeah, I'm like you. I'm so used to full album releases. My first album I ever bought was Metallica's And Justice for All.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'm used to that stuff. And I want to say this right now, too. It's crazy. For all you Kiss fans out there, you guys probably know this, what I'm going to say, but it's crazy to look back and think that their live show, Dave, actually saved them because their studio albums wasn't really selling all that great, I don't think, at the time.
I think you're right. If I remember from what I read, you know, that Kiss Alive and then the Alive 2, which was actually the one that I got. That was my first ever rock album, was Alive 2. And man, I dig Gene Simmons. Even as a kid, I just thought he had the coolest voice.
Even his solo stuff, man, is okay. I mean, some of it's okay.
Yeah.
That's just me personally.
Yeah, there's something about him. You know, he's always had whatever it is. It just says rock star. He's got it.
You mentioned Live While You Can was produced by Carter Green at Green Gene Studios. Will this EP be produced by Carter on this?
I believe so. So far, everything we have recorded has been with him, and we're just so lucky that he is within just a few hours' drive from where we live. We would cross several states to work with him if we had to. He's an amazing guy, and he has worked on all sorts of projects, not just music projects, but he has been involved with episodes of Chicago Fire and Better Call Saul, and not just rock music as well. He himself plays in a Cajun band, and at the same time, he records classical guitarists and all different types of musicians.
Working with him, do you think he got something out of you guys, a little bit extra that nobody else possibly has so far, maybe?
I think so. You know, he does a great job as not just an engineer, but as a producer. And he could come back to us and we could be in the middle of something, and he goes, you know, I think I'm hearing this, or why don't you try that? And some of that stuff is just gold. You can't come by it any other way.
Dave, what do you hope everyone takes away from the single Live While You Can, or a message you hope to hear while listening to it, or just any of Strong Like Bulls music in general? What do you hope everyone takes away from your music when they start listening to it?
Well, we are a band influenced by our, classic rock legends. And we're going back to going, you can just have a good time with rock and roll. Rock has been angry for a long time. And you know what? I like a lot of that music. And at the same time, I like to party and play rock and roll at the same time. And that's pretty much what we are as a party band. We play a lot of bike events, bike rallies, and different things here in Kansas. But one thing for sure, we want everybody to have a good time. And I think this song just kicks it right out of the gate with, I like whiskey, I like to party, and that's the main riff of the chorus.
Are there any songs that are not making this EP so far that may see the light at the end of the tunnel on another EP or maybe a full album down the road, possibly?
Oh, yeah, I don't think we have any we're going to throw away yet. We're still probably in the process of finishing out enough material to have a full album. We've got more than enough for an EP right now, but I like them all. Maybe I look at them like my kids or something, but I don't want to get rid of any of them.
Oh yeah,
sure. You put in all that effort, and pretty proud of what we've put together so far.
Do you see this band still musically growing from where it started, or has it just been more of a personal growth for everybody involved in Strong Like Bull?
I think it's been some of both. We started out actually as a heavier band. The rhythm section, we've got Jake Bauer and Sean Normandin, huge metal guys. They just love metal, and if you ask them now their major influences, they'll go back, and tell you Metallica got them all kicked off just like it did you, John.
Oh yeah, and, yes sir.
Yeah, and we started out heavy, and as my vocal range continued to expand, and we were playing gigs, and you're playing a 4-hour gig, you can't fill all that with your own material, especially when you're starting out. So we were covering some bands, and we threw in some AC/DC, because one thing I do not have is a crystal clear voice. I'm going to be raspy from the first note, and people loved it, and then they started saying I sounded like Bon Scott and
nice.
Jesse James Dupree, and that's, I get compared to Bon a lot on this track, Live While You Can, and man, I take that as a major compliment. Highway to Hell is one of my favorite all-time albums, and we just went with what it seemed like I could sing the best, and kind of took that classic rock influence another step then beyond just going back to Metallica, which, I mean, it's almost hard for me to think of Metallica as being considered classic rock, but they do go back their ways. So we took it the extra step, and I've always loved some of the guitarists, and I started out as a guitarist, but like Jimmy Page and those guys that were influenced by the big, blues heavy riffs, and Tony Iommi and guys like that from the 70s, and we've kind of developed our own sound working around that. But believe me when I say it was built all from a base of playing Metallica to start out with. Those were the first songs we covered.
Yeah, that's hard for me to even put in a sentence that Metallica's classic rock. I just can't do it. There's no way. I just can't. I mean,
yeah, it is hard to start to comprehend. Like, have they been around that long? Well, maybe so.
And I get so pissed when people say, "Oh, they sold out," blah blah blah. And Justice for All was the best album they had out. After that, it was all shit. I'm like, how fucking, how mad or how long can you be angry and mad at the world? I mean, you grow up at some point,
Yeah.
There's things that happen.
Man, I know a lot of people that didn't even listen to them until the Black Album.
Yeah.
Didn't even know about them. So
yeah,
I don't know. My favorite's still Ride the Lightning, but
I got introduced to them by Kill 'Em All, actually.
Oh yeah.
But my first album I ever bought by them was Injustice for All. And then I've said this a lot, and I don't care if anybody hates when I say this, that's fine. You don't have to listen to the interviews, but this means the world to me. And this is my goal, is to reach out to somebody that will hopefully have music save their life like it did mine. Masters of Puppets saved my life one night from taking my own life.
That's awesome.
I owe that band my life. I owe them everything. So, yeah. So music is my saving grace. It's my sanctuary. It's my safe place. It's it's just hard to talk about.
Well, that's awesome, bro. I mean, you can tell you've got a deep connection, and that's music touches everybody, and
it does.
It hits you deep, and I don't know your whole story there, but I can tell it made a huge impact on you.
It did. It's one of the things that I vowed to hopefully just. Why I do my show is just to hopefully have somebody lock onto a band and it save their life one day or save them from something one day.
Yeah.
Inspiration or something. So that's what I vowed to that night after that. So anyway, on to greener pastures out in Kansas City there.
That's all right.
What does Strong Like Bull bring to the table for music that's not out there as of right now, if anything? I know no one's reinventing the wheel, but what are you adding to that wheel?
I do think, like I said, we call our music rural rock. I think we've got a really widespread kind of mix of influences that, depending on one song or the other, you may hear a stronger influence of this or that. But like I was saying, our rhythm section, heavily influenced by Metallica to start with. And somebody like me, really influenced by those guitarists and now the vocalists that sing higher, from the 70s and part of the 80s in there, like Jackal I mentioned. But Bon Scott is a huge hero of mine. You've got all of that, and then our young guitarist, and man, like Dennis from the label group, he just calls him a shredder. His name's Nevin, not Kevin, but like Nevin with an N. Sounds like Kevin, and you're going to hear some just amazing guitar solos from him. But he's influenced by such a wide range of music, and to find like Dennis says, a young shredder that is influenced by that huge range of music as well. So we pull together all of this into something that maybe you'll hear the different influences, but maybe you haven't all pulled together like that at once before. So I think you'll hear a little bit of Southern rock flavor in there, and I suppose people tell me I have an accent. Of course, I don't hear it. But, you might hear me sounding more like I'm from the country or something than somebody from another part of the world. But we pull all that together, and like Jake at the end of Live While You Can. Here's a good example. We're doing this outro solo, and maybe it would just be your kind of standard classic rock outro solo, but Jake put the double bass behind it. Suddenly that ramped it up, and he learned that from listening to Metallica and the people that were inspired after Metallica. So that gave it that modern rock push, even though I'm over there sounding more like Bon Scott.
when you're coming into the recording studio, do you like to do anything differently during the writing and recording process? I know that's two different concepts to help keep your mind fresh and open to not get bored or not get stale with it. Do you do anything that helps you possibly?
Well, I get a lot of feedback from everybody. So the song may start out, a lot of times it's just me hearing a melody in my head or something. I like to start out with the vocal line or something that sticks with me. And I figure if it sticks in my head, it might stick in somebody else's head. And I pick that out on acoustic guitar. Maybe I'll cut a demo track and send that to the guys. And then I like it when they put their touches and influence on it and how they would play things. And like, you know, I'm essentially sending out a chord chart with a melody line when I do that. Not that I can read music, because I really can't, but you know, I'm just giving them a map, an outline, and then they're, you know, painting it all in their own flavors there. And then we'll take that and say we'll send all that to Carter ahead of time before we even hit the studio, and he'll give us his feedback on what he thinks on the demo. Like, he goes, I think you guys maybe need to pick that tempo up just a little bit to make it tighter, or to, you know, I think maybe you need to add a bridge, or, you know, he can just give us his own suggestions as well. And it's a whole process when you come through that, and it's all, I love creating things, so it's just all part of it for me. I don't really get disinterested or bored with that process, at least yet. It hasn't bored me yet.
What can fans expect at a show from Strong Like Bull who have not got to see you guys live as of yet, Dave? What are they going to get when they come to see you?
Well, you're going to get a good time is what we all hope for. You know, we're going to get some straight up rock and roll music. We're not going to mess around. We're going to come out firing, and you can bet you're going to have a toast or two along the way. And yeah, we're probably just going to have a good time. You know, we got to open for Them Evils in Wichita there towards the end of July. Those guys are great guys. I don't know if you've got to talk to them before, but
sure have.
Yeah, they're an up-and-coming band. Definitely got some classic rock influence as well, and we got along well. And, man, we just had a fun night, and we want to keep it that way.
Yeah, I got to interview Them Evils several years ago at Louder Than Life, and just great guys, you know, just hands down, talk to anybody, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man. Great guys. They just pull up in their RV,
yeah.
and we're just ready to rock and roll, you know, and that's what it's all about.
And I'll tell you what, man, it's so odd. And I told Jake this. He looks like a young version of Cliff Burton in a way.
Yeah?
Yep.
I had not thought about that even, but, you know, I think you're right.
Because he was sitting with a blue jean jacket on and I don't remember the shirt, but his long hair and everything. I just got a glimpse. I was like, fuck, it's Cliff Burton. And Jake's like, yeah, and I'm the bassist too. He's like, I was like, oh shit. I said, see? There you go. Yeah, they're good guys. All of them. Every one of them in Them Evils. Great guys for sure.
Yeah, we love them.
We touched on this just a little bit about the digital era that we're in right now, but do you like the social media side of it, to reach out to new fans, to let them hear of Strong Like Bull?
Well, that is how we started reaching out to everybody. So, I mean, I do like the aspect that it is easier for us to reach people, because, I mean, we live nowhere near a large city here. So when you're thinking about, even when we play our shows, we're not going to reach the number of people that a band would that plays, say, in Kansas City or Denver all the time. And I'm just mentioning the two largest cities that we live almost exactly between. We're 300 miles or more from each one of those two. So we're right in between on I-70 out here.
Good God, man.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's a ways. So Wichita is the largest city that we're close to, and it's still, say, 3 hours, or if you're like me with a lead foot, 2.5. But, you know, it's still a drive. So, yeah, it's true.
Your speed limits out there is like 75 or more, and ours is like 55 and 60, and some places 65 here. So I'm like,
oh, that hurts. Yeah, 75. I mean, it's 65 on a 2-lane, but you're going to push it. You know? But yeah, it takes us a while to get to a larger city, and we do drive all over to play, all over Kansas for sure, and we do go to Kansas City. But, you know, social media, back to the original question, has helped us reach so many people and then stay in touch with people and let them know what we're doing. We have a large following for us, or, for probably this area on Facebook. I think we're getting close to 10,000 followers there right now.
Oh, wow.
And we kind of got late to the game on Instagram and Twitter, so we're trying to build those up. But yeah, we've got a good following on Facebook, and it has helped us for sure.
I like Facebook. I like the social media outlet today, because for the folks who don't remember this, and I remember it like it was yesterday, because I could not get my hands on enough of the books, or the magazines, I should say, like Revolver, Hit Parader, Circus Magazine, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
You would find maybe a diamond in the rough sometimes, an address in the back to mail your favorite artist just a thank you letter or something, and then like 2 to 3 months later you'll get something back from them, and now
right.
and now you could just like message them something and you'll get a thank you or something like that back real quick. So,
yeah, Twitter's good for that for sure. I caught a Whitesnake show up in Nebraska and just happened to get a really good picture of David Coverdale, and I just sent out, put out a tweet and tagged him in it, and the next day he got a thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. And that right there means more to any of us fans, like David saying thank you to you. I mean, that got to be a huge moment for you,
Oh yeah, that creates a connection.
Yeah,
and that's the best part right there, is being able to have that connection with the people that really do like what you're doing.
Yeah, I agree with that 1,000%, man. What made you want to become a musician? What was that spark for you, Dave, that said, yeah, that's what I want to do right there?
I had a neighbor that was 4 years older than me, and he started bringing over music that he got from his brother that was 4 years older than him. So he was bringing over some classic rock stuff. And when I heard Led Zeppelin, something about Led Zeppelin and those riffs Jimmy Page put together, and, at the time I heard it, it had already been out for quite a while, but it was me hearing it for the first time, and that was it. I wanted to play guitar. And then just for years after that, as a musician, I was just a guitar player in bands. But, man, that's what I wanted to do, because he got me fired up about it.
So I want to ask you this question, and I'm sorry, folks, if people get mad about this, but it's just the God's honest truth. What about Greta Van Fleet? What do you think about that band and their sound? I want your honest opinion.
Okay, well, yeah, and if I just, in one word, good, and even though I am a Led Zeppelin fan, or if people get mad at them for sounding like them, I think those guys are going to develop more on their own. They're young. Give them some time to really crank something out, because, they just put out one EP of 4 songs, and it kind of blew up and went fast. And, they wrote those songs, but you obviously heavily influenced by Zeppelin. And, well, how many bands have been influenced by Led Zeppelin? I really like Great White, and there was a huge influence there, too. We just mentioned David Coverdale. I think definitely inspired by them. And he even did an album with Jimmy Page later on then, that Coverdale Page album. But, yeah, I can't hold it against them for being that influenced by Zeppelin. And at the same time, I think they'll grow into their own sound. So, no, I'm not a negative person. I don't like to give negative remarks at all anyways. But sure. I like what they're doing, and I like that they got some interest in this classic rock inspired sound. That clearly helped us as a band already. Now a band like Dirty Honey is coming out here and there in the top 10 in the active rock charts right now. Dirty Honey maybe reminds me maybe of a mix of Aerosmith and AC/DC or something, but I really like what they're doing.
Here's another thing too, folks. It's just how it came out. It's not just, oh, we're still on from Led Zeppelin. It's just how it came out, and I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. So if it flows, it flows. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and they didn't force people to like it. Enough people like it that,
Yes, sir.
It's still good music. It's still good music. I'm not going to get any more new tracks out of Led Zeppelin anyway. So.
There you go. There you go. Just be thankful, folks, that someone can carry on the torch. Just let it be that way.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Somebody may, because I've already had several comments. People are comparing my voice on Live While You Can to Bon Scott, and I've said, hey, wait till we have some more tracks come out. Don't think I'm always going to sound just like that. But
yeah. People are like that, man. They want to judge us by the first song, and then they're like, they shit on it and that's it. And I cannot stand that. It's just like, wait, just sit back, relax, see what happens. It's like, Slipknot with Tortilla, man. I mean, my God, who cares who it is? Just listen to the fucking music and be done with it. I don't care who he is. He's just a member of Slipknot. That's it.
Sure.
Is there a country that stands out or shocks you that Strong Like Bull gets support from, or your music is getting played in that area possibly that you have seen so far?
Well, I've looked on Spotify at how we're doing, and we've been on Spotify for about a month with this debut track. And of course, Spotify is big if you're on playlists, and that's how people discover you. And we got added to a big rock playlist in, I guess, in the Mexico area or south of the border some way. And so I'm seeing countries come up there, definitely Mexico, and I see Brazil and a few, and that surprised me. But at the same time, it doesn't, because I know rock is huge down there. You see a Iron Maiden tour where they go, fly into Brazil and different places in South America. And so I guess it shouldn't surprise me, but I was surprised to see it in the first month.
Don't worry, Dave. If you play it, you'll make it. If you play it, you'll make it. Do you have a go-to album or song that just lets you escape when you were young, or maybe now do you have that album or song that allows you to escape?
That's a great question, John. And I like a lot of different music myself, and so it's really hard for me to narrow that down to just one. Because sure. I mean, if you're wanting to get really mellow and chill, there's nothing like putting on Dark Side of the Moon, right? I mean,
yeah.
At the same time, I mean, I said earlier, probably my favorite album of all time is probably Highway to Hell. And I mean, front to back, what Mutt Lange got out of those guys just took it to another level. Not that the albums before that weren't good by any means. They were great, but I don't know. He just, especially Bon Scott. And then, just a year or so later, listen to the next album that he did with Def Leppard, High and Dry.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I'm listening to the vocalist in particular, and he pushed those guys, but man, he got some good stuff out of them.
And I don't mean to knock anybody that's recording albums today, but if you go back and you listen to albums from back in the 60s, 70s, and early, like 80s and stuff like that, it's so crazy on how deeper it sounds, if that makes sense, on these albums than it does today. It seems like it's just fast, gone, and done. It's not like there's not enough. I guess I'm screwing this all up, but I mean, to me, it just seems like everything was deeper back then. I guess.
Well, there's definitely some good albums. I don't know if I think there's some great albums coming out today too. Maybe it's there's so much content, not everybody can take it in. We didn't used to have as many coming out, so we would all listen to the same one for a while longer. I'm not for sure. Or like I talked about before, maybe they're coming out more as singles or EPs and not full albums as much. But yeah, there was some kind of connection when you would just put the album on it, and more people are on shuffle now. It's probably technology and the devices, right? I mean,
Yep.
that's probably why we're not listening to a full album as much as people, rather they create their own playlists and put their favorite songs on it.
Does the name Strong Like Bull still hold true as it did when you guys first started?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think so. And, of course, like I said, we started out playing a little heavier music. But, we're from Kansas, and there's a lot of rodeos here as far as that goes. So bull's a good analogy, And funny thing is, if you've been to a rodeo, they're going to play country music all night until the until the bull riding starts. And then when the bull riders are out, you're going to hear Thunderstruck and Back in Black. They put on some rock and roll to go with the bulls.
When can we expect this EP out from you guys, possibly? We looking for this year, or we shooting for next year?
Man, I would probably say early next year, but we don't have a set date. And we do have the material, but it's just going to go along the release scheduling here. So if we do, say, 3 more singles and then an EP with 1 or 2 more new songs, that'd be a total of 5 or 6 songs for the full EP at that point. And there can be 4, 6, or even 8 weeks between the single releases, probably more like 6 to 8. So it just kind of depends where we're at on that. And there's a radio campaign that's going to go on with this. And matter of fact, I think it just started, even though the single hasn't been released to the public yet. I think it just did get released to radio for a good time. And so we hope to build that campaign up as well. And I don't know if that will slow down the next release as far as streaming services or Amazon or any of that goes. So I leave that in the hands of people that know what they're doing, and they tell me what they think we should do.
Folks, you want to get out and pick up Live While You Can. You also want to get out and check out Good Time when it comes out. Dave, how can folks stay in touch with you guys? Merchandise, tour dates, when you guys go on tour, things like that, this album, EP, when it comes out, how can he do that, good sir?
Well, you can find links to all of it from our website, and that is just stronglb.com. And then we try to use that everywhere else. Sometimes our social links don't always get the strong LB that we'd like it to have, but facebook.com/stronglb will also have all that information. So you could go to stronglb.com or facebook.com/stronglb, and then it'll link you to all our other social media, YouTube, or anywhere you want to go. We do have a full video out for Live While You Can.
Before I let you go, good sir, would you care to do a promo for my show?
Hey, no problem. Hey, this is Dave Gray with Strong Like Bull, and you're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour and BODS Mayhem Radio Network. Please get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our podcast link, YouTube link, and I'm still trying with the Twitch link, folks, so don't get mad at me. I'm trying, damn it. And also, please, it's very important to check out our YouTube page, like and subscribe to it. We are adding anything and everything that we do here on BODS Mayhem Hour to our YouTube page. Also, get out and check out Strong Like Bull. Get out and check out their song, Live While You Can, and Good Time, and give this band a chance. There's some great stuff out there, folks. You just have to sift through it just a little bit, and you'll find that diamond in the rough. But just please give everybody a chance. Dave, I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck from here on out, man, and you're welcome on here anytime.
Hey, thank you, John. It was a pleasure, man. We roll through down that way. Love to meet you.
Yes, sir.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.